This is section 911D. We're going to continue our intro to identities. So we're going to use identities to manipulate an expression or equation. So as a reminder, we need to have these primary identities memorized. You need to flashcard them. You need to practice them. And then the helpful thoughts, we first look at larger identities, then we see if there's any algebra, we change everything to sines and cosines, and then repeat. So let's look at this first one. Transform the left side to look like the right side. I don't see any Pythagorean identities. I don't see any algebra, because I can't add them together just yet or subtract them. So change everything to sines and cosines. And start all over. So now no Pythagorean, but now there's some algebra. I can multiply top and bottom by sine. Now 1 minus sine squared theta, this is a Pythagorean identity. That's going to be cosine squared. And then we have our value. Now just to show you that Pythagorean identity, it's sine squared plus cosine squared theta equals 1. How do I make it look like 1 minus sine squared? You subtract this on both sides. So cosine squared is 1 minus sine squared. Okay, transform the left side to look like the right side. No Pythagorean, no algebra. Change everything to sines and cosines, so 1 over sine. Tangent is sine over cosine. And then minus cosine. Those cancel out, so I get 1 over cosine, so that was some algebra. Okay, again, no Pythagorean algebra. Okay, so find the common denominator. So now you get 1 minus cosine squared theta all over cosine theta. That 1 minus cosine squared is going to be sine squared. And that's what we were looking for. Now this one here, I know we have a proclivity to distribute that squared, but that's not what it means. You cannot do that. So this is going to be cosine theta plus sine theta, cosine theta plus sine theta, and then minus 1, right? The square means I have 2 of them. So now distributing it. Cosine squared theta plus sine cosine, right? So cosine squared, sine cosine, sine cosine, and then sine squared, minus 1. That turns into 2 sine theta cosine theta. Cosine squared plus sine squared is 1. That's a Pythagorean identity. The 1's cancel out. So you get 2 sine theta cosine theta. So what did we learn today? We practiced more identities. This does conclude our lesson. If you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments.